When Jon Snow and his crew go up beyond the wall to capture a live white, Dany comes in last second to save them from the White Walkers. But what if Daenerys doesn't fly in and save them at the last second? How would this change the final season of Game of Thrones?
Yeah, before we even get into this, why don't you let us know in the comments what you guys think, because this could go in a lot of different directions for a lot of different characters, even though it's the end of the series and there's not that many characters left. But the reason why we chose this topic is because lore-wise, in the books, the dragons actually aren't supposed to be able to cross the wall. It's like an instinctual thing. We have instances in the history of the Targaryen family going up to the wall, having their dragons perch atop the wall, and even if they wanted to go past it, the dragons just wouldn't do it. So that's our justification here. So given that, Jon and his crew up there, the A-team, the power team that we saw, I think, at the end of Season 7, trekking beyond the wall, right? They're dead. They're definitely going to die. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Wait. You don't think Benjen and his cool little fire mace is going to be able to save the day when he helicopters through them?
Cold hands. My hands are so cold, guys. Just scare away the White Walkers colder than them. No, he's not going to save them.
All right. There goes all my notes. Everything was based off of Benjen saving them.
That spinning lantern attack, dude, so cool.
Oh,
No, yeah, they're dead. When the dragon comes there to save them, it's like last second save. Like, so no, they're absolutely dead. Gendry ran back the night before. I think the night before. It was really quick. Ridiculous, man. That was like the most hyper speed. But he survives, and I guess maybe he could back down to Winterfell or something. It's kind of unclear. But because that doesn't happen, the White Walkers, they don't make it past the wall, because as of now, we do not know of any other way that the White Walkers can pass the wall without taking over a dead dragon and using its dragon fire to get past it. Otherwise, how else are they going to get past the wall, you know?
Right, like the Horn of Winter was set up, at least within the books. I don't know any other way they could do it other than potentially, somehow they do like a World War Z style, all the whites hit the wall and they somehow can climb up that way, Because we know whites we know whites can survive. Whites being like the zombies of the people beyond the wall, because there's the White Walkers and the whites, right? So the whites can survive past the wall. We saw one in King's Landing at the end of Season 7 in Game of Thrones. But then even in the books and in the TV show, Season 1, we see a white almost try to kill Jorah Mormont. So we know whites can get past. It's the White Walkers, I believe, that are the ones that are being held up so much by that wall. Could whites somehow get across? Like, well, I don't know how. Like, maybe they could just close off every tunnel that goes through the wall to the other side.
Yeah.
Right. So then how do they get through
that main tunnel in the bottom? Just caulk it shut, right? Like, fill that bastard. Otherwise, yeah, with the White Walkers, you're going to walk around the wall or something like that. Like, Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, the Undead Army, dude. So cool, man.
Hell
the crew walking. Oh.
You best start believing in ghost stories.
So then Dany up there, she's sitting on top of the wall. It doesn't work. At this point, she's not in love with Jon or anything. Like, they kind of had a tumultuous relationship. She was kind of convinced to go up here in the first place. So I feel like she just says deuces to the watch. I'm sure they want her to stay, but maybe she'll just be like, hey, I promise I'll come back with some dragon glass and help you guys. And then she just gets out of there. She ain't never coming back. She's never fucking coming back.
She doesn't see any of the White Walkers at this point, right? She doesn't believe necessarily everything that's happening there. And none of them are showing their presence at that point. So she, like you said, probably just flies back, or at least is like, you know what, maybe I'll deal with this issue when it becomes a bigger issue on my plate.
Like Jorah's out there, Simp Supreme is out there, but again, he's a simp. And like the women, they don't care about their simps. It's not a mutual relationship. So yeah, see ya.
So what do you think happens with Davos and Melisandre? Who do they side with in all of this? Because I think there's two kind of factions that are potentially coming together, and we see them actually form an unsettling, what do you want to say? Unsullied alliance with Dany and Jon Snow, right? Up north, and then they fight within the Battle of Winterfell. But if the Starks don't want to really side with Dany, because after Jon's not there, she's no longer able to use her simp-like passive ability, Dany on men, that I don't think Sansa sides with Dany. I don't think Dany really wants to, deal with... I don't know. I'm trying to think.
No. Listen,
she'd probably go back down to King's Landing, right? First, I don't think she goes over to Winterfell. But my bigger question is Davos, Melisandre. What happens with them?
Yeah, we'll hand her the bitch versus bitch super heavyweight grudge match between Dany and Sansa later. But I don't see a way that they don't side with the North, because I think there's that little bit of choreographed, good guy music, bad guy music thing going on, and they've built Davos to be such a good guy. I don't think he would take the, let's just say, pragmatic approach, even because Dany's got dragons, right? It's kind of a no-brainer that she could win by force if she wanted to. I don't think they would have Davos side with that person. And Melisandre, I think she's just a tag along with Davos at this point. I doubt she sides with the Targaryens either, even though, fire, right? I don't know. I don't think that they side with each other.
I don't know if Melisandre's a tag along for Davos.
I think she is.
They might side on the same side, but I don't think it's Davos goes one way and Melisandre just comes, waddling
Dude,
behind
she was
him.
useless after Shireen got burned or whatever. She got so traumatized by that for some unknown reason. And, our boy, the true heir to the Seven Kingdoms in the true book canon, right, Stannis, after he died,
right.
She's just kind of a shell. She doesn't really have a purpose or whatever. I think she would just do anything anybody tells her to do, man. She's just a submissive, useless person now. I think they stay up north. That's the answer to your question. And then I do think Dany basically goes back to Dragonstone first to prep to take King's Landing. I think that's her goal. I think she'll go there right away. But now that there's no Jon, you don't get this conspiracy back and forth with Varys trying to convince people to side with Jon, he has the better claim or whatever. So that means that he would never tell Tyrion that, and Tyrion would never tell Dany that Varys is plotting against her, and then Varys doesn't die. So that whole drama, I think, can just be thrown out the window, right?
Right. But does this drama still remain of Tyrion, for whatever reason, trying to get his family to bend the knee to Dany? Because I understand why Tyrion wants to save Jaime, but he keeps going back and trying to be please, just bend the knee, please. It's dude, no, your sister is a psychopath, dude. Let them burn. Maybe if you give Jaime one shot, here's your shot. Pick the coochie or...
I think I got the answer to this, and no joke, I think I got the answer to this. There's no council of bringing everybody together around the White to prove the White Walkers are a threat or whatever, which means that Cersei's never going to betray this pact that happened. Instead, she's just going to sit down there in King's Landing and stew and probably hatch some greater wildfire scheme, right, in preparation of things, openly without any regard for civilian casualties. And Jaime's going to be here for that in this situation instead of trekking away. So I think he's going to have plenty of time around crazy Cersei to be convinced to betray her. Plus, he's not going to have that post-nut regret with Brienne, you know what I mean? Because that's exactly what happened. He had post-nut regret, post-nut clarity. He said, what?
This is a dude.
What did I just do? It was bigger than mine, and I still went through with it. And so he goes back down then just to what's familiar, and basically any crime that Cersei could have committed wouldn't have swayed him in that moment, back until his T was restored, right? When he got that high T retention grind set going a little bit longer. But that's not going to happen in this situation. So I think with enough crazy Cersei plotting, he would have no problem either killing Cersei, or let's just say maybe if Arya, since she has really nothing to do up there either, she's not going to have any post-nut regret herself from sleeping with Gendry because they're not prepared to fight the White Walkers. If Arya is you know what? I got nothing else to do. I'm going to finish my list. Goes down and then is in the situation to assassinate Cersei. Jaime could be well, Cersei should die, but I just don't have the heart to do it. She's my lover/sister. Arya, why don't you do it? I can see that.
Oh, Arya, why don't you do it? You're saying Jaime is standing outside her door and just lets Arya in. It's oh, you coming in there?
Yeah,
Reluctantly. No, I don't. See, I don't know. Jaime, if he doesn't have the decision of, you can actually see that Cersei is picking herself over, the lives of so many people. Basically, he's seeing the Mad King again through Cersei, right? That's the reason why Jaime's you know what? I can't do this. This is just this whole thing all over again. This is bringing up past trauma.
That's exactly what it would
right?
be, yeah.
Well, no, that's what happened in the original TV show, because he saw Cersei doing that. But if he doesn't see Cersei turn away that White and then betray this pact that's going to be more altruistic, and I don't think Jaime then has that bigger wedge to drive between him, because he was willing to try to kill Dany and that dragon when they... it's not the Field of Fire. The Field of Fire was in Aegon's. It was the Battle of the Loot Crate or something it's called.
Sure.
Comment down below. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
The Great Loot Crate Battle in Westeros.
It's whenever Dany, which is an amazing shot, when Dany and the Dothraki Screamers come around the hill and they're taking all of the gold and food and resources from Highgarden.
Yeah, and Jaime's shit. Yeah. Okay, let's
and then he falls in the water, right? Yeah. He's 100 pounds worth of armor and he just floats to the top. Always.
Another great showing from D&D. I hear what you're saying, but again, I think that the fact that he was not away from Cersei for a while to kind of have this false positive thought about her, and the post-nut clarity, it's extremely real, even though it's not clarity. It's kind of a mixture in this. It's clarity, but also not clarity, because it makes him miss what's familiar to him back home. I think if he's there the whole time, he has even more time to stew with Cersei, who is aware that Dany's in Westeros at this point, and is absolutely going to refuse to give up power, because she's already lost everything. Without her kids, she basically is the Mad King, right? She doesn't have anything holding her back. She has nothing to lose in her mind, which has also got to feel like shit for Jaime, because it's hey, what about me? I thought we were each other's whatever. If that's a situation, and Cersei is actively planning, I'm not going to give up this city to Daenerys. The White Walker thing never even happened. I'm just straight up going to blow up everything just so that this bitch can't take my shit. I think that Jaime reaches the same conclusion that she needs to die.
Yes, way later. So he doesn't initially leave her.
He wouldn't leave her at all, I don't think.
Right, yeah. Ugh. Can you imagine a book-accurate Euron within the Red Keep? The shit he'd be getting up to?
Dude, he'd be sitting on the throne. And that's the thing, man. In the books, if any of you guys are book readers, which I'm sure, our main audience is, but if people are clicking this video and haven't watched our videos before, dude, Book Euron might end up being like the Act 3 human antagonist for Song of Ice and Fire. It might be him, either him or Littlefinger, right? I think, or I guess maybe young Griff. Either way, whatever. He's a contender. But in this, I basically think the exact same thing happens to him. He might even die at Jaime's hands again. Except this time the circumstances just be a little bit different. Like maybe Cersei still agrees to sleep with him for retrieving the Golden Company and whatnot. And then Jaime's like, what the fuck? I'm under the same roof as you and you're doing this? Because that would also further the wedge between him and Cersei if that happened. But
yes, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Right. So Euron, I think just to get him out of the way, he dies. Thank God. And the Greyjoys are basically a non-factor. What?
He dies to what then? How does he die? To Jaime eventually?
He either dies to Jaime or if he's...
Jaime walks in on him, sees that he's uncut, and he's like, no. That's right.
Yeah, no anteaters in the Red Keep. Or, I mean, it's also possible that he dies to Dany, because I think Dany eventually does come for King's Landing, and if the Iron Fleet is still a thing, and if the Golden Company is still a thing, dude... with a max power, horse-cocked Dothraki army, and no cocked Unsullied. And I mean, by the way, Dothraki, horse-cock shaped, not size. And, dude, 3 dragons? She takes King's Landing, no difficulty, destroys the Iron Fleet. Cersei's still not going to surrender the city. But I don't think that Dany's going to be driven to insanity by this either, by the way. I don't think she tortures King's Landing. I don't know if you want to talk about that yet or not. But I think she takes King's Landing, and I think that the Iron Fleet gets destroyed. So Euron's death is either Jaime or Dany. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think with 3 dragons she would have at this point, I think part of her insanity starts, or I would believe, my headcanon for the TV show is because she lost her dragons and she had such a mental bond with them, that's what somewhat caused it as well. Also, just probably the frustration of all of her life's work now is just, crumbling around her, and she's like, holy shit. Yeah. And I can totally understand that. But yeah, I think if she has all 3 dragons, even if one dies, it's not going to spiral her into insanity. So I think she can take King's Landing quite easily, but I don't know if she's able to hold it. We've seen throughout lore, when someone takes King's Landing and holds it, and maybe the populace doesn't really want them there, they don't hold it for long. So I guess that would be the follow-up question, because I think the North just stays up there. I don't think the North wants to have anything. They just want their own independence, right? So do we think Dany, if she takes King's Landing, is she able to keep it? Because if she does too much dragon damage, I don't know how people are like, all right, we're okay with this.
So I think that the dragon damage thing is going to be kept to a minimum, because I think, one, the White Walker conflict that just happened, listen, it's got to be extremely stressful. She lost a dragon. She almost lost a second dragon. She has this whole weird relationship with Jon now, where she's aware that there's another person who could maybe usurp her claim. So I think she feels very powerless, despite having the most still objective, physical power still, when she comes in the real show. And also, the Dothraki and Unsullied are still max power, right? She doesn't lose a ton of the people that she's gone so far to liberate and whatnot to the White Walkers. So she's a lot less losses coming into this right now. I don't think she loses it whatsoever. So that opens the door to possibly maybe having a smarter campaign about all this, kind of taking what you're saying into consideration. If I just bust in here and take this place by force, the common folk don't even know me. Are they even going to accept me? So honestly, maybe she could do some kind of a propaganda campaign, maybe, find 5,000 votes in the middle of the night in Flea Bottom or something like that, and take King's Landing by force eventually, but after there's been plenty of good word spread about her. And if that's the case, I don't think the North goes along with her, but I think that there's definitely a better case for the rest of the kingdoms. How do you think that Crasterly Rock, the Westerlands, the Reach, how do all these places feel about her? Probably neutral at best.
Well, when she brings all these Dothraki and Unsullied, I guess we don't have to really worry about the Unsullied, potentially having an enclave of their populace, because they're literally just going to die, right? Because they're all...
Yeah, they can't replace.
But the Dothraki, what the hell's going on with these guys? I do not want them living next to me. These guys are barbarians.
Yeah. I'm going to move out of my neighborhood if a Dothraki was next to me. That's all I'm saying.
But then again, maybe she should just put them all in Flea Bottom and just see what happens, right? Just put them all in Flea Bottom, see what happens, survival of the fittest.
Put them all to the Iron Islands, man. Turn that shit into Alcatraz. Send them all over there. Dude, we don't want any of this filth in the mainland.
So I don't know Well, Dany would do what she should do is, like you said, a propaganda campaign of some sort. I don't think she needs to marry somebody, I think, to solidify her claim.
True.
And I think the best one would have been, Jon, because that would have been the North and the South kind of combining here. There's more candidates in the book of who she could possibly, marry because there's a lot more relatives in each house. Do you think maybe that Dany could legitimize and then marry Gendry to like say, oh, there's a Baratheon rule and I'm in here and we're going to be Targaryens and Targaryen rule? Do you think this could happen?
I think.
Or what should she do if she doesn't do that?
That's a good point. Because you know what? They story-wise, narrative-wise, they could even meet at the wall. Because Gendry came back there.
That was so fast. Yeah, that was the fastest man I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was the fastest flight I've ever seen. And then they're in love, right?
You know what else I can do fast? Real fast. It's like, oh, I love fast sex.
Yeah, dude, I think that's it. I think that's exactly what happens. It's like a great way to actually bring all these houses together. It'd be extremely smart for her to do as well. Edric Storm would be the better pick, but he's not in this series.
Right.
So Gendry's the one. It sucks that he's not more well known because that's what would be so nice about Edric Storm is that he's like this widely recognized bastard of Robert Baratheon, and he has like respect in Storm's End. He's almost seen as legitimate to them anyway. He was smuggled out of Westeros, similarly to how possibly young Griff was. But yeah, man, that's a great idea. I think that's actually the best way to find peace here. Will she do it? I don't know. She's not that smart, but I mean, Tyrion and Varys are both at her side, and if Varys isn't actively acting against her, which he still could be, because if he hates Targaryens, he could spread some BS like, we found out that Jon was actually the rightful heir, Jon Snow, that Ned Stark's bastard. He was actually the blah, 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 because Bran and Sam would still deduce the same conclusion. Yeah. Although if Jon's dead, I don't know why or if they would tell anybody about it. So I don't even want to go there because I don't know who they would tell her why. Maybe Sansa, and then what does she say? Jon's dead. Like, he has no heirs. It wouldn't do anything anyway. Like, it doesn't affect her at all.
Right.
The most she could say is maybe to Dany, like, hey, you and me both know that the rightful heir was Jon Snow who died. He was of Winterfell. How about we don't tell anybody about any of that, and then you let the North remain independent? I don't know if Dany's pragmatic enough to take that deal.
No, I don't think she would. I think she'd want it all. Why wouldn't she want it all? She has the dragons. She has all of the power behind the negotiation here. What does Sansa have? Just a bitchy attitude, What does she have? The veil, maybe? But if here's an alternate situation that Dany marries Sweet Robin and she has the veil on her side,
dude,
then
Giga
she's
Chad.
Screwed.
You don't even need dragons with Sweet Robin on your side, man. I think Gendry is a smarter pick. Sweet Robin, not so much. Okay, so if all of this works well, let's say she installs Tyrion or maybe another loyal house of the Westerlands to Crasterly Rock, and
there'll be another Lannister there. And
let's just say the Lannisters maintain their position. Let's say they get another loyal house in the Reach. Maybe the Tyrells are pretty much gone now, so maybe the High Towers can reclaim their liege lord status or claim it, dude. Unbelievable. Alpha. The tower is the symbol of power, dude. But if that happens, all the other kingdoms are on her side. Let's just say even Dorne. Let's say even Dorne, that's still
Dorne definitely
sweaty and spicing it up with that Martell leadership, right? Yeah, let's just say they're still there. And Dany shows up on Sansa's doorstep with the dragons. You think it's a Torrhen Stark V2 situation? Or you think Sansa still tries to put up a fight?
I don't know. I think Sansa would. The Sansa we see in the TV show, she would put up a fight, or she would be like, the North will never bend that knee, even though it's really stupid. And Bran the whole time is probably just giving the most monotone, panicked face, like, we need to be thinking about the threat beyond the wall, please, whatever we do.
I miss when Hodor would visit my room at night.
I will marry Dany. It's like, what?
Works into Dany for their wedding. Goes back and forth. I do.
This right here, like, we can see Dany taking all of King's Landing up to the north. I think if she wanted to enforce her will hard enough, she could just put her thumb on the scale and say, no, Winterfell's mine. Guess what? Otherwise, everyone burns. And what are they going to do? The only thing is like the Blood Raven / Bran mind meld. How is that a threat to anything Dany's doing? And
Dragon warging. That's it.
What's that?
Dragon warging. That's the only potential thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. I guess he could dragon warg, which we don't know if that's even possible. Right? We've never seen it happen. But we've never been told it could not happen.
I mean, show-wise, show continuity-wise, if you can warg into a human...
Well, wargs in the dragon, chomps Dany in half, then what happens? You'll go back into chaos, right? These dragons are...
No way, dude. Are
I
you
guess
serious?
Bran's back on the throne. No, it ends. Bran's back on the throne because he wargs in the dragons, takes out the White Walkers. Then he just gets like picked up by whichever one you want to pick, whatever dragon that's still alive, and it brings him down to the King's Landing. He can't be stopped, dude. Bran can't be stopped.
Dude, okay, listen. If that's true, if it's very possible, I almost want to end it right there. But in my ideal ending, man, if that happened, you might get a situation where, in the most based result, the kingdoms get to govern themselves.
Yes. Oh, holy shit. Yeah, that's the ideal situation.
Yes.
We all break up. We all go to our independent kingdoms again. Separate but equal, baby. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and smash that like button.
Or not, we don't care.